Yo, what is up guys, and welcome back to Concrete 47, and since you guys really love my WTF Comics series, I'd like to do more of it over on my channel. So today we're having a look at Mr. Mxyzptlk, which is definitely not an easy name to pronounce. For the sake of not repeating his name all the time, I'll simply be referring to him as Mr. M. He first appeared in the Superman Daily comic strip in 1944, however, his debut issue was supposed to be in Superman number 30. Due to complications in the release dates, they had to delay their comic book appearance, which is why he first popped up in the newspaper comic instead of the original. Anyways, going back to his appearance in Superman number 30, the letter T and P were mixed up in his name, so this is how his name was originally spelt. Although this was later changed to his spelling as we know today. In this issue, he is shown causing all kinds of chaos and playing jokes on civilians, such as pretending to die in a car crash, making a truck defy the laws of gravity, and drive up a building vertically, just to name a few. He eventually caught the attention of Superman, who has seen him with his very own eyes and seen what kind of prankster that he is. Superman tries to catch up with him, but Mr. M just keeps slipping away from him. Just to sidetrack for a little bit, one of Superman's weaknesses is magic. Not to say that it makes him ill or weak like kryptonite, however, I'm referring to the fact that he isn't invulnerable to magic and he can be manipulated by it. This is not exclusive to the Golden or Silver Age of comics, but to this day he can still be easily attacked from magic. So going back to the story, Mr. M keeps messing things up and Superman keeps cleaning up his mess. He's like a hyperactive toddler looking for fun, except for the fact that he has insane magic manipulation powers. When Superman finally reaches him, he asks Mr. M where he comes from, to which he explains a brief part of his origin story in only a few panels. He explains that he is a being from another dimension, which we now know as the 5th dimension. In this dimension, he had a job as a court jester, and one day he began to study books from a brilliant scholar, to which he found a way to reach the 3rd dimension. He uses 2 keywords to get in and out. The first keyword, I assume, is his name, Mr. Mxyzptlk, although I could be wrong. And since he doesn't actually say it directly, I'm not quite sure about this. The second keyword is used to send him back to his home dimension, although he doesn't tell Superman what the word is either. Superman tricks Mr. M into telling him the word and accidentally sends himself back to his dimension, which is where the issue ends. He was deemed popular enough to reappear in Action Comics number 80. Yet again, his name was still spelled with the P and the T reversed from how we know him as today. He later got a redesign during the Silver Age in Superman issue 96. What's interesting about this character is that every time he appears, Superman has to find a way to get Mr. M to say his name backwards. It's always entertaining to see how he gets outsmarted by Superman. In Superman number 131, his name was changed due to a typo and was left that way ever since, which is why I said that the T and P in his original name were changed from how it originally was during the Golden Age. Another thing to note is that his look here is more similar to how he currently looks like now. After Crisis on Infinite Earths, he would start breaking the 4th wall and had another change in his appearance. He would now have long curly white hair on the sides of his head along with a cigar. In Superman the Man of Steel number 75, he briefly confronts Mike Carlin, who at the time was the editor of the Superman titles, and asks him if he is the Supreme Being. He also parodies the Death of Superman story arc in this issue. In the 1998 Young Justice comic, we see a possible origin story where he was brought to life by a magical printer. I'm not even making this up, that's literally how he came to life in this issue. This in turn showed that he was an active researcher looking for knowledge on our dimension, which is a bit similar to the Golden Age origin. I say that this is a possible origin story because this is a kind of silly Halloween special not meant to be taken seriously. He also mentions that his real name is unpronounceable to 3rd dimensional beings, which is the only thing I would consider canon about this issue. One of his most popular and, in my opinion, greatest storylines is one called Emperor Joker. I really need to review this story in full detail one day because it's an amazing story and it's pretty funny too. So basically what happens is that Mr. M wanted to see what would happen if he gave the Joker just 0.1% of his power. The problem is that this backfired and the Joker tricked Mr. M into giving him 99.99% of his power instead of the intended 0.1%. This is actually pretty interesting to see because it kind of shows us an idea of how much power Mr. M possesses. The Joker could kill Batman over and over and just keep reviving him if he wanted. He had so much power that he almost took over the entirety of the universe until Superman saved the day, to make a long story short. There's a lot more to the story and I would recommend that you guys read it for yourself. Mr. M had barely been mentioned or shown in the New 52, so I'll just skip ahead to DC Rebirth. Mr. M became trapped by a hooded villain calling himself Mr. Oz, who was a big part of DC Rebirth. Anyways, Mr. M wanted to escape, so he broke free with enough magic that he had. To make sure that he would stay hidden from Mr. Oz, he disguised himself as Clark Kent. To make matters worse, he wiped his own memory so that he could stay hidden. After a while, he remembered who he was again and went back to being his normal self. Well, sort of. He is seen as a more sinister version of himself in DC Rebirth. Mr. M was pretty mad at Superman for not caring enough to get him out of the grip of Mr. Oz. In an act of revenge, he played with Superman by taking away his son and not telling him where he was. After a while, he was more recently shown in the Justice League series in issue 19. This story is pretty crazy, but I'll just go over the general idea of it. So the Justice League need to go to the 5th dimension for a map that they found. They call in Mr. M and set him in a cage forged in Apocalypse, but that doesn't even hold his power. He starts causing chaos in the streets while he is subdued by Martian Manhunter. This is actually really amazing to see since he is able to subdue Mr. M by entering his mind. He makes him subconsciously think about his name backwards to get him to calm his powers down, which is a pretty cool concept if you ask me. As I said before, if Mr. M says his own name backwards, he is sent back to his home and for 90 days. Since he didn't say his name backwards out loud but rather in his mind, he was only subdued long enough to no longer attack. Mr. M reveals to the Justice League that their map actually leads to the 6th dimension. So this story reveals to us a couple things. The first thing is that the 6th dimension is the highest level of existence when it previously was thought to be the 5th dimension, which is Mr. M's dimension. The second thing is that he and Batmite are the two most powerful imps in the 5th dimension. The third thing is that we see that the 4th dimension is time, the 5th is imagination, and this is why it's so powerful. I would really like to review this storyline in the future since it sounds very interesting to me. So anyways guys, that's it for Mr. Mxyzptlk on this video. He really reminds me of Bill Cipher from Gravity Falls in the sense that they're both creatures with virtuously unlimited power and make very odd, weird, and fun things. A lot of people know this guy from the Superman animated series and he made a great appearance there. He actually taught people how to pronounce his name. He said, to pronounce his name it's Mxyzptlk. So that's how you pronounce his name for those of you who don't know. I personally like whenever he appears in comics since it brings him to the sort of goofy 1960s style in a modern take, which is quite interesting to see. Also guys, let me know what other weird characters you would like me to review in the future. And be sure to leave a like and subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you guys next time.